Welcome to the podcast about investing in startups, where existing investors can learn how to get the best deal possible, and those that have never before invested in startups can learn the keys to success from the venture experts. Your host is Nick Moran, and this is The Full Ratchet.
Welcome back to The Full Ratchet. On today's special segment of Investor Stories, the investors address trends, sectors, and markets that they think are positioned for outsized returns in the future. This is the segment called What's Next? On today's special segment, we have Craig Wortmann of Pritzker Group Venture Capital. Craig, can you tell us about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
Well, Nick, we're looking at, we are really interested in e-commerce. We're interested in healthcare and, tech-enabled industries and businesses. We're curious about how some of the trends in the market are going to affect those types of investments. Gosh, we're seeing everything from really deep sort of supply chain technology to cryptocurrency, some of the things that are happening in digital health. And I'm not being very specific, but those are some of the things that we're constantly looking at, thinking about, talking to people about.
Got it. Is it often that you guys develop a viewpoint and then pursue down some of the sectors or categories of interest, or is it sectors or categories come to you based on a variety of different startups, and then you decide whether that's a category that Pritzker wants to be involved in?
We're fortunate. We have a little bit of both. I mean, we do have people coming to us, and that's just a wonderful thing. I would say, though, that it's more the former of what you said. And I will be super careful to suggest that I'm relatively new and I mostly watch this process unfold. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly fascinating to watch the firm develop a point of view on something, on an industry or a sector. That's been incredibly fun to watch. I would argue it's mostly the former, where we do that, and then we try to proactively seek opportunities in that, based on that point of view.
On today's special segment, we have SC Moatti from Mighty Capital. SC, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
Yes, I definitely can. And I'm going to go back to my comment on genomics. I think we have this massive potential to leverage the data that's inside us the way we are leveraging the mobile data outside of us that we've collected for the past 10 years. And so I'm really looking forward to see, our health, our body, our lifestyle transform from that. I can think of, a few ways of, us as human being and the way we manage our health, our diet, our lifestyle, when we get sick, how we monitor our symptoms. But also I can see, applications in robotics. One of my favorite show is Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, and right. If you know this show, it's basically saying robots have taken over the world and they're being mean to us because we were mean to them. And so how do we get out of that situation? But at some point in the show, somebody gets into a robot, inside a robot, and these robots look horrible, like robotics nightmare. They look like humans made out of metal and 3 times our size, invincible. But then somebody makes their way inside one of these robots, and what's inside the robots is actually looking very much like human flesh. And it's such a powerful image, I think, to imagine that, yes, these robots, they are so complex that in a way they're a lot more like human beings than they are robots. So, I think this field of genomics is going to open all sorts of phenomenal innovation for us.
Wow. On today's special segment, we have Bradley Tusk of Tusk Ventures. Bradley, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
Yeah, for sure. So my interest tends to be the combination of the political public policy issue and opportunity along with the market opportunity. So autonomous trucking, we're investors in a startup called Kodiak. Palo Alto-based Series A company that does middle mile autonomous trucking. We're really excited about that because for us, the ability to work with State Department of Transportations and create pilot programs for testing, create rest stops and way stations and things like that is really doable. And I think ultimately autonomous trucking is going to be a far easier lift politically than autonomous cars. So that's one that we're really excited about. Really excited about scooters, obviously. Was in Tel Aviv, I guess about a year ago, September of 2017, and saw all these e-bikes whizzing around and said, man, I wish we could have some more of that in the U.S. because we're just so congested. And then a month later, we talked to Bird, and we've been working on it every day pretty much ever since. So we're really excited about that space too. Esports is another one that we're really excited about. We are helping incubate a company called Gain Profit. It's an esports platform where they'll ultimately be gaming on that. I have a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, and what amazed me is they each get half an hour on Saturday and half an hour on Sunday to play video games, and they seem to like watching the other one play just as much as playing themselves. And we're asking them one day, like, would you watch a stranger you don't at all know play video game? And they're like, of course we would. Like, well, are they good? I'm like, yeah, let's assume they're really good. They're like, yeah, of course we would. And at first I thought that was crazy. And then I think, like, I watch strangers play baseball and football and basketball all the time, right? I don't know these people. So maybe it's not that crazy. And so helping figure out on the front end, what's the regulatory framework for esports? How should it be governed? How should gaming work? Where is it like sports betting? Where is it not like sports betting? Is really interesting. And so we're really excited about that space too. And in telehealth, we do a lot in that. We're investors in a company called Wortmann. We work with a company called NewRx. We really like working on the regulatory framework for telehealth regulations all over the country.
Very cool. Are there some sectors that you're kind of still looking for the next big startup in that you haven't found yet?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So one is cannabis. We did work with these and got equity, and that has actually done pretty nicely. But overall, there's still this challenge in the cannabis world where states keep legalizing cannabis either recreationally or at least medicinally, but the federal government says that it is a completely illegal product and it's on Schedule 1 of the DEA list, which is where every really hardcore drug is. You've got something that works on a state level, doesn't work on a federal level, and the risk there is a lack of liquidity in the marketplace. We are allowed to invest in cannabis startups, but a lot of people listen to us can't because they've got pension funds or sort of major institutional investors who are not comfortable with it. And they're not comfortable with it because it's still illegal under federal law. And the challenge there becomes there's just fewer dollars able to chase different companies and different deals, which means they raise less money than a non-cannabis startup would, which means they have less money to burn, less room to grow, less opportunity to fail and to learn and to expand. And that really limits sometimes their overall potential. That will change radically, I believe, when cannabis is no longer a Schedule 1 drug. But I don't think that's going to happen until we have a Democratic president. So realistically, even if Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or Howard Schultz or Joe Biden takes office in January 2021, the soonest you're looking at is 2022 before something like that happens. So it worries me a bit. It's a sector I really like, but I think that you're going to need to see some federal change for it to really take off. Another one that I'm really excited about, but I haven't found a company yet, is in desalination. Obviously, the impact of climate change we see every single day. And every time I go out, especially to the Mountain West or the Southwest, the lack of clean, fresh, readily available drinking water is very clear. And it's only going to get worse. Anyone who can provide people with potable water has a major opportunity. I have yet to find any kind of at least early stage startups that are doing things around water that are interesting enough to merit our working on and investing in. But ultimately, it seems like it's very clear that we're going to suffer massive multiple effects of climate change. We already are. Access to water is one of the biggest problems of all. And the people who can get ahead of that solution now, I think, stand to do really well.
That will conclude this installment of Investor Stories. If you're enjoying the program and would like to see it continue, take a moment and leave a 5-star review in iTunes. Also, if you'd like updates on new content from TFR, as well as the top 10 VC articles every week, go to fullratchet.net and sign up for the newsletter. Okay, that will wrap things up for today. Until next time, over-prepare, choose carefully, and invest confidently. Thanks for joining me.